Welcome to the Wakefield Doctrine, the theory of Clark, Scott, and Rogers. Doing some filler video. I've got one you should have already seen, depending on how I sequence it, for a day at work. I'm still on the, not quite the same work day, similar work day. Fridays I do touring of properties, and in this case, I thought I'd take you guys down to the beach. This, if you're following along, for you geographophobes, geographophiliacs. Not phobes, that would mean you're afraid of geography. If you like maps, there's probably a better word with philia on the end than geographia. But I'm just sort of vamping until we get to the water scene. So you're in my car. We are heading on, we're on Winter Road, heading in a generally southeasterly, I'll have to say, direction. If you look it up on the maps and the satellite photos, we'll be intersecting with Route 1A in Rhode Island, and then we'll go down to Atlantic Avenue, which is the road that runs directly along the shoreline here in the southernmost part of Rhode Island. That's a local pronunciation. I'm not big on accents. You can't see anything. It's always amazing, isn't it? I can see it, but you're stuck in this camera with a small round window and it doesn't show. Huh. Anyway, classic, watch this pan. See that over there? Anybody from New England, or I imagine most old seaside communities are like that. You've got the road down to the beach, fields on the left for the most part. And what's interesting when you look at beach development in this part of the country, they reflected most of the area to the right, which we won't be seeing, would have been developed in probably the 40s and 50s purely as cottages, seasonal cottages, because up here will be the ocean, technically the Sound. Got a lot of footnotes on this one. I'm not sure if this is going to make it to the air. So we are approaching Atlantic Avenue, which have motels growing like warts on the beach, but that's not to be critical. Actually, it is. Everybody knew that. So let's go up. I don't want to make this too long a scene, because there's a nice area where we will see the ocean. Except, let's go this way. Here, this is Friday. The weather is quite mild for this part of the country. So the State Beach, which is that structure you see up there, will probably be fairly crowded. So let's go see. Yep, that passes for crowded. Now on the left, you'll see that salt pond. And to the right is the pavilion to the State Beach. This is fairly uninteresting in terms of anybody from Idaho who wants to get a look at the ocean is being sadly deprived. I could tell you about the Wakefield Doctrine. Why don't we do that while we wait to pass to where we can see water? Wakefield Doctrine, theory of Clark, Scott, and Rogers, is a perspective on the world of the people who make it up. The premise of the Wakefield Doctrine simply is that we are all born with the capability to experience the world in one of three characteristic manners: as an outsider, as a predator, or as would a member of the herd. There's three distinct ways of experiencing the world. You hear at the Doctrine we believe in personal reality. There's a water slide that doesn't work anymore. Personal reality, so that all of the Doctrine's three personality types boils down to the idea that I grew up very early age in the world of a Clark, outsider, and my strategies, the way I figured out how to deal with the world, are appropriate to that kind of reality, to the reality of the outsider. And I could go at length about what's appropriate about mumbling, lacking eye contact, and having bad posture. But trust me on this, if you're an outsider, you'll say, yeah, of course. The person who is a predator grows up and develops strategies appropriate to that kind of reality, which is kill or be killed, move fast, don't bother thinking about stuff, just do stuff. And the same with the herd member, except they're slower moving. So it all comes down to the three personality types of the Wakefield Doctrine: Clark, Scotts, and Rogers. A couple of sort of handy shortcuts. Clarks think, Scotts act, Rogers feel. It nicely assigns the prime defining qualities of each. We are all born, we develop into one and only one worldview, and yet we all retain the potential of the other two. In my using myself as an example, I am a Clark with a secondary Scotian aspect, significant secondary Scotian aspect, and a weak tertiary Rogerian. The fact that I'm talking on this here electric video machine is proof of a secondary Scotian aspect. Go find yourself a simple Clark, meaning non-significant secondary and tertiary, and they'd be saying, no way. I won't even let you draw a picture of me. So that's how it expresses, often under duress. I should be talking about the ocean, which is it's not more interesting than doctrine. I'll take that back. So we all have that, we all grow up, and the whole goal of the Wakefield Doctrine is for us to develop our secondary and tertiary aspects into dynamic balance. And all that means is that we fully appreciate how we relate ourselves to the world around us. I said how we relate ourselves to the world around us. I did not say how we relate to the world around us. That second is a much simpler and less useful way of saying it. We say how we relate ourselves because that pulls in all of what we are, the parts that we know and the parts that we don't necessarily recognize. We're going to take a run at Weekapaug, and hopefully that will turn out to be productive. I bet you it is. We'll get a little bit of ocean on the end just before we turn around. Weekapaug will show on your maps. It's in the town of Westerly. It's one of these summer communities, not a municipality as such. It's just a neighborhood of seaside cottages, as we'll see. And I'll definitely, the bushes are too long. There's some ocean over there. You seen that? Okay. Nod your heads if you can see that. Okay. Ha. Which are Clark nodded. And we'll see the cottages on our right. All of these things over there. Nice looking architecture, no? Answer is yes. And we'll take a quick spin by, because we're probably at like Dr. Zhivago length in our appreciation of videos. And we'll just do this and see that there ocean. Sparkling like a bright metaphor. Or fill in the metaphor, I should have said. It would have been funnier, wouldn't it? Yep, you've seen all of that. I can let you, I'd roll down the window and let you smell it, but it probably wouldn't work. So we're going to take a spin. Now let's just cut here. Thanks for coming by. Comments will be appreciated. I don't want to hit anything here. Cut.